This week on the JMC Network Newscast. First, details on how the young adult voting demographic is at a historic all-time low. Then, an in-depth interview with Joyce Schuster, an honors political science and history major, on the actions that she believes needs to be taken to increase the young adult voting demographics. Finally, more details on the on-campus feral cat project. Welcome to the JMC Network Newscast. I'm Laura Benson. It's been a long puzzle why so many young adults do not vote and why their already low voting rate has continued declining over the decades. In 1972, 53% of voters under 30 went to the polls. By 2000, that figure had fallen to 36%, a historic low, according to the Census Bureau. We went on campus to ask ACU students about their reasons behind why they personally chose not to vote. Take a look.
I know that Wendy Davis and Greg Abbott are up for governor. Wendy's the Democratic, Greg Abbott is more conservative Republican side.
I feel like voting, you should be educated and really know what you're voting on. And for me, I haven't had time to really do the research. So I just don't want to go with like what I hear, because then I'm just making an uneducated vote.
Because where I live, I'm not from this state, but where I live, my vote doesn't count because it's a heavily Democratic state.
Have you registered to vote?
I have not. I just haven't really been around a lot of voting, so I haven't really been interested, I guess.
I'm not going to be voting in this election. I haven't been here for very long, so I'm not familiar with the candidates, and I've never been that politically active yet. I see the importance for it, but I just haven't given much thought to it, so I just turned 18, so it would be my first election, but I'd like to give it a little bit more thought before I decide to vote. Think of political parties and candidates, I usually, from an outsider's view, kind of just see it as a little bit ridiculous, such intensity and hatred against each other, but at the same time I do see the reason for it.
Well, senior Joyce Schuster is an ACU honors student and a political science and history major. She is also president of the debate team and serves on the ACU Honors Senate. I had the opportunity to sit down with Schuster to discuss her opinion on why she believes young adult voting is an important issue and how she thinks we can increase young adult voting and political awareness.
I think that people that are of the age of vote, that this is time for them to really make their own opinions. And I think the young vote's important because you're not representing what your parents think, but you're representing what you think. And I think that young votes, they're a significant portion of the population, and I really think that we can make a difference. That's a typical response, that I can't vote because my vote's not going to make a difference. But if every single person thought like that, that meant nobody would ever vote. The only way that things ever change is because someone decides to make the difference. You can look at Austin. It's not conservative at all, even though we're from Texas, and that's because one person made the decision that, wow, I think I can change things, and that's why they vote a completely different way. And I mean, statistics even say that in the next 20 years that Texas is going to be purple, and that could happen even faster if people make the decision. Participating in these small elections is really important for the youth vote because there is such a small turnout. These really local elections, if you just got 100 of your friends to get together and vote for a candidate, you could sway an election. 100% guarantee you. Ignorant voting is not voting for what you believe in. So I think that comes in different ways. First, I think voting based on what you grew up on. I think that you need to learn how to think for yourself. So I'm definitely guilty of this, right? When I first came to college, I had a very specific mindset, and I said, this is going to be my mindset because this is what I was taught my whole life. This is what my church taught me. This is what my parents taught me. And then when I realized that what I say makes a difference and there's actually repercussions to my actions, I decided, wow, I need to know what I believe. So I think the first start in making an educated vote is deciding what you can believe. So sometimes it's hard, right, because you don't know who you want to vote for. Sometimes you just assume that you vote for who your parents voted for. My first election, that's totally what I did. I just did a straight ballot. But honestly, the easiest thing to do is you can go on Google and type in the two candidates that are running in your area, and you can find their positions. And so really it's just, you need to decide what's important to you. It is the easiest thing to follow politicians on Twitter or just specific websites. Politico to follow on Twitter is amazing. Or if you want something a little more fun, you can actually look at reporters in DC and they give their own take on things. And there are tons of them on Twitter. Literally, if you just follow one, start following Politico and you can see the people they retweet and you can start following those writers and those journalists and they just keep you super up to date. Vote. Decide that you can make a difference. Decide that you matter.
Well, that was great insight, and I want to thank Joyce again for joining us amidst her, I'm sure, very busy schedule. So thank you for joining us, Joyce. Well, we've got more details about the progress being made on the ACU Feral Cat Project. Roll it.
We've been doing this for the past couple years now, and pretty much the initiative started out of kind of controlling the cat population a little bit, as well as checking for diseases. The way we would tranquilize them with anesthesia, putting them in the cage. A lot of people have concerns with that. You know, we're using the towel, we're being as humane as we can, and that's just a matter of kind of doing what we have to do for that. But for a large part of this isn't going to be any different than what you're going to find in any big SPCA or even a lot of vet practices.
Once we trap them, we sedate them, we examine them for external parasites, we check them for a couple of viral diseases that cats can get, and then we castrate the males, we spay the females, and then after they wake up, we turn them back loose where they caught them on campus. Since these are completely feral cats, we can't just look at them and tell if we've caught them before or not. What we chose to do is to surgically amputate the tip of their ear. This is our third year of the program, and we've done approximately 90 cats, closer to 100 so far.
Well, for more stories and breaking news, go to acuoptimist.com and like our Facebook page, The Optimist, for the fastest way to keep up with all the latest breaking news at ACU. As always, thanks for watching the JMC Network Newscast. I'm Laura Benson. Have a great week, everyone.